Shalom, Akim Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start out saying Ka Halalium, La Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Waharuka Kodash. Second, let the elders are ruled becoming what they labor honors. Speak that they labor in divine doctrine, which should be apostles and elders of the Muslim, GMS. Alright. Third, I want to say peace and salutation to all the Akims and Howes and Maris. To continue to push this to honor sincerity. See the name we have by Shimon Shai, by Shimon Kodash. Khan. My name is Agabaga from GMS Toronto. About giving another presentation. I'm gonna go into basically I'm gonna tell this video the wicked. Well, actually I haven't come up with the title yet, but like basically this video is gonna go into showing you how the wicked, even though they they live prosperously, as in they seem to to be prosperous in this lifetime, their end is gonna be nothing but disaster, and death and misery, and anguish. You see, because as it is, you reap what you sow. Okay. Now, the video I just played, that actually came from a movie. That movie called Hansel and Gretel, right? Which is like like one of those like at least like a Disney movie, but basically as in the theme, basically says like basically you reap what you sow, right? So I wanted to open up with a scripture. Actually, let's get that in the book of Galatians, right? Galatians 6 verse 8. Six verse 8, right? Khan says this. Says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap everlasting. Okay, and what does that mean? That basically means you reap what you sow. So if you reap the things of the flesh, and we know that the flesh is always warring against the spirit, and the flesh is wicked, but the spirit is righteous. So if you reap things of the flesh, you're going to reap things which are which come with the flesh, which is really at the end of the day, it tells you that the recompense of sin is death. Paraphrasing. See, so it says, for he that soweth of the flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth of the spirit shall of the spirit reap everlasting. You see. Now I'd like to present that with another book of with the Proverbs. Just to get context. Because it is it's supposed to do precept, line for line, here there and here a little and there a little, right? So let's go in Proverbs chapter 11 verse 18. Khan. Actually, no, it's like that's not the precept I want to bring. But yeah, it's basically like in the video that played with the video that played earlier, the J character, was going into this precept, right? And it's showing you, that basically in that movie what happens was what ends up happening. If you haven't watched the movie yet, basically it goes into showing you how those two how Hansel and Gretel actually got into they went into the woods, which represents wilderness, right? And then they came across a witch, which happens in the story. So they came across a witch, and this witch basically had the power to give them like all the food that they wanted, all the good things that they wanted, but that also comes with a price. So it says right here, Proverbs 11 verse 18 says, the wicked worketh deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward, right? So as in basically you reap what you sow, and these people have sown nothing but wickedness on the earth. The Bible tells you in Job 9:24, it tells you that the wicked, that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. If not, where and who is he, right? So, and people that run this earth are the so-called white men. As you can see on the screen, on the top screen, out there, like one of the Rockefellers, and these people, as in they run everything, they're the ones that push all these, these vaccines on us. They're the ones that actually, pollute the air, they pollute the water, they pollute the, they pollute everything that there is, to basically, to basically kill off the humanity and bring in the new world order. You see, and this is what they do. So basically, since they have raped death, sorrow, misery, and and anguish, they're gonna so like since they have sowed wickedness, misery, death, and destruction, they're not reap the same. You see. Let's go back to the book of Galatians 5 verse 19. I read to verse 24. And it says this. It says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery. So this going to the flesh. Basically, when you rip of the flesh, like we read back in Galatians 6 verse 8. Let's actually go to it, right? It's like yes, Galatians 6 verse 8. It says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Right? When you go back to when you go a chapter back in Galatians 5 verse 19, right? It says this. It says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, right? And that adultery, that goes into universally, as in sleeping with other men's wives, or basically, spiritual side, basically, as in disobeying the laws, the commandments for the Heavenly Father, right? And then fornication basically goes into, basically sleeping with, men and women sleeping together, but with no intention of actually getting married, being together, but they just basically, they what you call friends with benefits, right? It says uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. And who is the man that propagates all these things on the earth? It's Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. This man, goes by the mantra, do as thou wilt. And when you do as thou wilt, that's ripping of the flesh. Okay, the Bible tells you, that the heart is deceitful, wicked, and who can know it? So basically, the heart that goes into your mind, which is really, like your like your instincts. You see, so you're not supposed to go by instincts, but you're supposed to go. But tells you, like you walk by spirit. You walk by spirit and not by sight. So it's supposed to be led by the spirit and not of flesh. Okay, it goes on saying, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Right? Basically, when you're in the Spirit, you're going to automatically keep the laws, because you're in the Spirit. Okay, it says 24. And they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. Okay, and that's why, as in the ones of us, by the mercy of the Heavenly Father, how much Shai, we have crucified the flesh, and that's why we're able to actually go into the scriptures, actually break it down, and actually have the Spirit, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, work with us to actually give us the understanding, because we have forsaken, or we have given up the works of the flesh and we're pursuing the works of the Spirit. You see, now let's get another one in the same book, Galatians 6 verse 9 to 10. Can say this. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Right? Is it? It's like Galatians or Galatians 6. Oh, it's like I actually want to bring out Proverbs 10 and 16. I'm gonna play the video after this. Let me just bring this out, then I'm gonna play the video. So let's get this. This is Proverbs 10 verse 16, and it says this: "The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the fruit of the wicked is sin." And who's the wicked? The wicked is a so-called white man. As it says, in the book of Malachi, I believe it's 1 verse 4. It says, the border of wickedness, comes from Esau Edom. And these people, every kind of wickedness that there is, anything they can think of, these people have done it. You see? So let's get it.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs.
And the scripture tells you, that you're not supposed to despise, as in the herbs, right? Make sure you get that. I just thought about that right now. It's like, let me despise the herbs. Paraphrasing. I'm not sure if that's the right way. Beautiful. So this is coming out of the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, out of the Apocrypha 38 verse 4, and says, "The Lord Yahweh Shai hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them." You see? So and these people, as in they already, before they came, people were living, full lives, to live, to the 80s, 90s years old, living healthy lives, without any vaccines, without any injections, they're living off the earth, and they're living full healthy lives. And then this man came in, he comes in with his vaccines, he comes in, with his hatred for herbs, and then he brings in his witchcraft, which is pharmacy, which that word pharmacy actually goes back to pharmakia, which means sorcery. You see?
Declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information.
And that's the devil. That's the devil for you right there. I mean, that's a devil, in his purest form. The moment you actually come up, as in discover, his true colors, it comes up with something actually, like basically like throws a monkey wrench into you. It throws a monkey wrench in there, and this devils did it by coming up, like with their philanthropic, with the philanthropic, achievements, or like whatever, right? And that's what this devil do, man. You see, this book of Proverbs, back Proverbs chapter 5 verse 22. Let's get that. So Proverbs 5 verse 22, and it says this. It says, his own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cause of his sins. You see? And this man, as in, and look at him, look at him like, walking down, like, he looks like he has no soul, he has no fear of the Most High, he looks like, he just looks like, like some like skeletons walking, This man, he has no backbone, as in, it's just like, he has no humanity in him. It's a complete demonic entity, man. It's a white man. It's Edom. Read again. Proverbs 5 verse 22 says, his own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cause of his sins. Next verse, he shall die without destruction, and in greatness of his folly he shall go astray. You see, meaning you reap what you sow. Okay.
John D. Rockefeller is duly credited as the founder of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason that medical error is currently the third leading cause of death in America. This is not an indictment against doctors. More than anyone, they are under the stranglehold of the single largest lobbying power in Washington. Every year, the pharmaceutical industry spends at least twice the amount as big oil to influence laws, policies, and public perception. Thanks to Mr. Rockefeller, the architect of American monopolies, no industry has more power over our lives than Big Pharma.
And this goes into to what was known as a pale horse in the Bible. Okay, the pale horse, I should get it. Let's get the book of Revelations, chapter 6, verse 8. Right.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller's.
This is book of Revelation chapter 6 verse 8. It's like here. It says this. It says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, right? And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. These people, as in they occupy, the western hemisphere. As in there's a term called, as being westernized. That means, as in the West is basically where these people, get, these people dwell. Babylon the Great, America. You see. It says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword. To tell more like First World War, Second World War, now going to the Third World War, right? And that word sword, that's the sword is nowadays, the sword is a modern day gun, or the missiles, or the bombs, that's a weapon, right? It says, and power is given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger. Right? Right now, people are dying of hunger, as in everywhere. People are eating the GMOs, still dying of hunger, but they don't know, they really don't know it. And there's gonna be death, but there's gonna be a real famine that's coming. It's coming soon too. It says hunger with death and with the beasts of the earth, right? And these people, as in Bill Gates just came up, he wanted to come up, with a bunch of mosquitoes, they'll spread, they'll spread, diseases. I forget what it was, but like, there was basically over there in Florida, and they want to come up with this thing, where these mosquitoes to actually spread, diseases, right? And they've been doing it from the beginning, right? Now let me go ahead and actually end it with this precept. Let's go to the book of Job 27 verse 13. 27 13 Khan. It says this. This book of Job 27 verse 13. It says, "This is the portion of the wicked. This is the portion of a wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of the oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty." Next verse. "If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread." You see, so I mean, as in, you reap what you sow. You people, you so-called Edomites, you are not satisfied with bread. You had all the power in the earth, but yet you want to press people more and more. So therefore, you're gonna get the same thing. People are gonna battles. Like when the wicked shall cease to spoil, it shall be spoiled. You see. So therefore, you reap what you sow. It says, "If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep." You see, and you once the devils are taken out, you women are gonna jump ship. Okay, you women are wanna be, with, they wanna be, they won't want anything to do with you. Okay, because you're gonna be exposed as the devil that you are, and everybody that, all the other nations, they're gonna, basically like shun you. Also, you women are gonna shun you too. That's what it says. "Though he heaps up silver as this dust, and prepare raiment as clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver." Okay. So I'm going to end it there. I think I hit the point. See, so basically, you devils are about to reap what you sow, man. And this time is coming, as you have all this time, to you had a chance to actually make it right, make things right, but didn't, because of the devils. So now what's coming for you? You're gonna get the same thing they sowed. You're gonna reap what you sow, man. Okay. So with that, I'm gonna end it there. When I say Kahlaliyam Yahweh, Bahashim Yawashaya Waharaka Kodash, let the elders are ruled, become other devil honors, split the labor in one doctrine, which with the pastors and elders of agreement and GMS. I want to say peace and salutation to all the Yakim in the house and Mary's to continue to push this truth to honest sincerity and fear the name of Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Kakodash. My name is Gabaga from GMS Toronto. Till next time, Lord wills, I want to say Shalom to the elect. I want to say Baba, Kom Yashwala, to America. Till next time, Lord wills, Shalom to the elect. Shalom.